Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Mike. This would be my pickups for 5/19/2021. I hope everybody had a great week. It was a big week for me. Man, everything was pretty good. I wouldn't, I don't really do the top 10 list or anything like that. I mean, because I buy more than 10 or sometimes less than 10. But I will go over some more like mehs, not really skip it. Everything was kind of a good read. So let's hop into it. So I did pick up Batman Fortnite issue number 3 with the code. I haven't opened it because, I don't know yet if I'm going to sell it, if I'm going to keep it. I do plan to read it. I might sell just the code. I do still have the first 2 issues. I've gotten rid of the first code, but I still have the second and third, so who knows. But I did like the first issue. It was good. And Snake Eyes goodness, why not? And that was the variant cover. Next off, we have Nightwing number 80. This was supposedly a key of a first appearance of Heartless. And it was actually decent. I heard some good things and bad things. Overall, I liked it. It was kind of a very soft-hearted story. It starts off with, Nightwing and his new puppy, and I think it's Doggo is the name they chose. It was another one of those, let the world vote on his name. They have some cool spreads like this. There was actually a couple different comics that DC was doing this week where they did this like bird's eye view, and I'm kind of digging that. It was kind of cool, but overall the story was good. It was him hooking up with Tim Drake. I like the nod that he did. That he even got that Batman's seal of approval on Tim Drake, that he was like a better Robin than Nightwing was, and it was kind of cool for Nightwing to admit that. There was some other cool, it's basically like this murder mystery. They're trying to figure out who's killing these people, and on the cover it took me a second glance, but that's like his heart was stolen. But overall it was a decent read. I wouldn't say it was like the best ever, and the reveal was just, bam, there he is, the Heartless guy. And I mean, they don't really go into him except he steals people's hearts. So I will pick up the next issue and we'll see where that's going. I will say I did like some of the stuff that Tim Drake was asking about what he was going to do with the money, and how it was like a heavy thing that Alfred had put that on him to actually do something smart and caring and kind with the money. I thought that was kind of cool. Next up, we're going to go into Legends of the Dark Knight, issue number 1. I just got the regular A cover. I wanted the Harley Quinn. I don't know who drove it. I think it was maybe In-Hyuk Lee, but I doubt it. But there was a Harley Quinn variant that I wanted, and my comic shop did not get it. So I'm fine with the A cover. Overall, it was an okay read. It's basically like, I want to say it's like your intro Batman comic, because it doesn't really focus on the detective side. It's in there. It shows, Batman, but basically it's a first appearance of this guy, and he's got to be the cheesiest. He's just a guy in a gas mask, and he's supposed to be like a Russian guy with an accent, but he's selling gas, and that's why these, some of the villains are featured in this comic. Like they show, right here, all the different, villains that do use gas and their tactics against, Gotham and Batman. And basically Batman's tracking down these villains, trying to, catch not only the guy who's selling this new gas, but also, to stop the criminals from getting it. And then it gets into this whole thing where it's like, obviously the Joker's going to get on it because, Joker's a big gas guy. So it's this whole, Batman chasing Mr. J through the city, trying to get the gas. Overall, it was an okay read. I wouldn't say it was, the best ever. I mean, it wasn't a bad read. It read real quick. For a beginner, you know, I mean, it's, I would say it's the perfect comic to get on in. This is, Batman has 5 main titles normally: Detective Comics, Batman, Shadow of the Bat, but this is another title that's missing. This was a 90s, Legends of the Dark Knight. I think it went all the way to like 190 or something like that. Don't quote me. It might have went to like 25. I think it was like 190. But that's what they're doing again. It's going to be another big ongoing Batman, you know, series that they do. Like, they don't have enough Batman already. So Legends of the Dark Knight, it was okay. These first 3 are kind of like my okays. Now I'll get to my really good ones. Justice League. And I don't know a lot about Naomi. I had passed on her comic when it came out. I don't know why I passed on it. I passed on a couple people. I passed on Far Sector. I don't know why. And I really liked that new Green Lantern. I'm really digging Naomi after seeing her in Justice League, and that's what this is the Justice League is recruiting new members. They're picking up her, Hippolea, and I'm sorry if I pronounced her wrong, but her name wrong. And they're picking up Black Adam. And I know a lot of people don't like the whole Black Adam, you know, joining the Justice League thing, but honestly, it's almost like Venom and you know, Punisher and Deadpool. He's an anti-hero. He's never been a straight up villain, kind of like Catwoman. I hate when people just peg him as a villain. Yes, he's done some bad things. I mean, but all of them have. That's why they're anti-heroes. You know, they it's like Harley. She's been right in the gray forever. You know. So for me, it's not a big. I love Black Adam. So actually seeing him do more good, I've kind of always liked that he was one of those villains that if he saw some disrespectful stuff, that, you know, he would turn his villain ways and go hero. I did that. Basically, it's in like going in Naomi's world and where she's from. This is like Brutus. He's like some character that's from her world, and her world was dying. I don't think we know a lot about her powers at this point. She doesn't know a lot about her powers, so it's us growing with Naomi, and I'm really digging that part of it. Is it's this whole mystery, you know. Basically, in like the last couple of issues, this is the 3rd issue into this run. So if you haven't started on Justice League, this is a great time to get on it because it's the 3rd issue in, and there's not a lot of like back that goes into it. You know, you don't have to know a lot of the Justice League as long as you know who Batman, Superman, that kind of thing. And this one kind of starts you off. Now it's building on story, so if you don't catch on soon, you know, it will get really confusing. But you know, for the most part, it's following Naomi. But that guy Brutus, he came through a portal, and you know, from wherever she's from, and he basically comes the first time, and he smacks our heroes around, and he's like, oh, but I could do better, and he teleports back to his home world, and I'm just showing y'all some art, but they basically follow him through the portal, and when they follow him through the portal, all the heroes are kind of, all their powers are enhanced. All of a sudden, you know, Canary's cry, and it's shown right here, and she goes to use her cry, and you know, she knows what her highest level is, and this is way beyond her highest level. So wherever they're at, there's some kind of like old magic or something that's increasing all of our known heroes' powers. Now, I know it doesn't seem like some of the other heroes doesn't get affected, but like a lot of people were like, oh, Superman didn't. Yeah, his powers are extremely increased, so much so he can't even see. He's so afraid to open his eyes because his laser eyes, he's afraid it'll just decimate a planet. That's how, you know, Batman has to talk him through him, and he's like, basically just kind of like, look through your eyes, you know, a little bit so you don't kill everybody. Everybody's powers are messed up. I can't say there's one part in this comic that I got real excited for, and the next panel right next to it, it just got shut down. I was like, dang it. But, I mean, it's setting up, you know, this new world of bad guys versus our bad guys, and now our good guys have, you know, bad guys have been souped up a little more, so they're a little more on par. But they got some Black Adam going up against this Brutus guy. But it's still kind of like beginning stages of this war against whoever these new people are, and we don't even really know. We just know a couple of their names. I would say there's like a key. I don't know how big she's going to be. I think I don't know because I didn't read Naomi, but this isn't the first time we've seen Brutus, but it's the first, for me, it's the first time I've seen her, I think. I might be mistaken, it might have been the last issue, but I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've seen her. So, I mean, if she, gets bigger. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about the side stories. And y'all really need to be reading the side stories, because the future state part of it, like, we all know, like, what it's leading up to. The side stories is like this whole other thing. It's like, side story, it's like if you read the first one, it's like, you read the second one, they're building up to stuff. It's kind of like how Huntress's side story in Batman is leading up to Huntress's own comic. And last week everybody was like, when they read that Huntress side story, and it kind of blew them away because it was all like sad and depressing, and it got, like these stories are building up and they're getting better. Like Justice League Dark, I mean, if you start with the first stories, they all make sense. So, I mean, they are leading up to some really cool things. And Justice League Dark didn't disappoint. I mean, I haven't read a really bad second story in any of these DCs. I don't like that's the reasoning why we're being charged more money. I think, we should just buy a comic for that comic and not, like, 2 different stories. But, I mean, because we have enough books where it's just a book of stories, I mean, I want to just read Justice League, not Justice League and the Huntress, but it's kind of a cool idea, so it's not terrible. But that was Justice League number 61. Alright, so we're going to get into, like, my faves for the week, and no particular order. I mean, I really liked all 4 of these big time, but I want to do this one because it's going to be a little longer. So, Wonder Girl, back on DC, and I love me some Wonder Girl, man. She's far. If y'all aren't on Yara Floor yet, y'all need to be. I spec'd hard on this girl, and not for any kind of sales or anything, just for my own personal, because I really believe she's going to go far. I mean, the art in it, the story, how they're building it up. I mean, and a lot of people I know, there were some parts that were confusing, and they were like, oh, there wasn't anything majors happening. There was, and I'm going to point it out, okay? So I have been specking on her. This is her first appearance. She showed up at the very end of this in one panel. This is her first appearance officially, like on a cover, and this is her first storyline. But I wanna point something out. Her weapon right here, which they show in this comic, we get to see in this comic, and nobody pointed this out, but we get to see how she's going to get that weapon and what it is. Everybody was all like, at the very end of this comic, they didn't know what the heck was going on because they're missing something. They didn't get those other stories. And if you see right here, that's that weapon. It's not hers yet. This is her origin story. This weapon belongs to whoever this is. And we don't know. But whatever that weapon is, Yara gets it. Now, we have seen it a little bit in action. We don't know if it's like a lasso of truth or anything like that. But that's kind of like the big reveal at the end of this. And a lot of people didn't get that was the big reveal. Not the villain, or it was the weapon. Basically, okay, so back to this. Because I spec'd hard. I went 1, 2. I got her Justice League, and she's here. And in the Justice League, we get to see her in full armor. In her main, we don't get to see her in the full armor. Infinity Frontier, we get a little bit from her. And another side note, if y'all don't know, they come out with these Connect, and they're really for pool subscription, so you can do your subscription pool, just check mark what you want for your boxes. They're also posters. I get all these from, I have ton, in my, but I always grab, I try and grab 2, and I keep one for, my walls and everything, but I actually put one, on the back side of, the comics, just to add something else. And these are collectibles. They do actually sell online. So, for instance, I have, the Infinity Frontier cover and poster form, and I got the comic, and guess what? It's going here. So it's kind of like an extra added coolness thing. And they actually do sell separately. People do buy these. Not a whole bunch, but some have sold quite a bit. So, just a side note piece. Okay, so really this is her, official origin story. It's at the very beginning. She's not Wonder Girl. It's kind of demonstrating like, you know, who she is at this point in the world, why she's going back to Brazil. It does introduce us to, like, I think it's kind of confusing, but I think it was her auntie or her grandmother. I'd have to go back, but basically it's just Yara, kind of like we're seeing like the very beginning of, you know, her growing. Now, I can't say a lot. I mean, I don't know, but for me, I love this art. I mean, like right here, all this detail. I don't know how well you can see that, but I mean, the second I read this was, I mean, this was fire. I loved it. I mean, I loved every part of it. I love the paneling. I love the art. I love the writing. I love the. I mean, they did a really good job, and I was really impressed. And I mean, if y'all don't know, this is Wonder Woman's year, so that's a big reason why they're building up on her so big, because this is the year of Wonder Woman. That's why she was so big at the end of the storyline. Now they're continuing with this. So, Wonder Girl #1. Put these on my Wonder Girl stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go into, oh man, Stray Dogs. I mean, if y'all are not reading this, y'all are missing out, because Stray Dogs just keeps getting better and better, and this issue did not disappoint. I'm not gonna show you any art. I mean, I will do a review of the whole comic. I already have the first 3 issues, but I'm not going to show you any art, because, I mean, you need to get out there and get this book. It's so good. I want to say that the 3rd issue almost got me to cry, almost. But this one, man, it had very tense moments where I was getting anxiety, and I mean, it's just really good writing. I can't say enough about it. I went with the horror. I've been trying to pick up all these homage, and this is an homage to an old horror movie called Demons, I think. Man, this was really good. If y'all can, get this comic. Even if you haven't read it, even if you haven't got the other 3 before this, it kind of catches you up. So, and there's only one more issue after this. It's only going to be a 5, and this already has been picked up on Netflix, supposedly. But Stray Dogs #4, I mean, it was really good. And there's a reason I can't go into art, because it's getting closer to a lot of the spoilers. But I will do a review. Alright, so The Many Deaths of Laila Starr. Issue #2 by Boom Studios. And the other one was Image, and all the other comics before that was DC, I'm sorry. Homage to the DC gods. And Todd McFarlane. So Laila Starr, I mean, this was like when the first issue came out, it was like my top comic for that week. It was so good. I've never gotten a chance to read the Sandman series, so I've read bits and chunks of it, like that evolve around the Sandman universe, but I've never really gotten to read, you know, the whole main. I mean, it's an old comic, so but I've never actually gone out and bought like an omnibus or anything like that. But I've heard people compare it to Sandman, and I know enough about Morpheus that yeah, okay, I see the similarities, but to me it's completely different. I mean, it focuses on different culture, it focuses on different tropes, but basically the many deaths of Laila Starr, and it kind of sums up on the 2nd issue by that title, The Many Deaths of Laila Starr. And this issue focuses on the other side of death. You know, I mean, we get that, you know, people die and stuff like that, but it's all about, like, you know, the other side. Like, well, what happens to the people that are left behind? You know, what about all the people that work in the business around, you know, that kind of thing. And not necessarily business wise, but it does go into, like, her little friend here, and he does work for death, because what this comic is about is a child just being born, and somehow, some way, he's gonna create immortality, and it comes from something he sees or does, or that has never been done before. But this is death, and you know, she's being put out of business because of immortality. I know the art's not for everybody, but man, I mean, the art for me it was awesome. Now, I'm not gonna say that it got me to cry, but I mean, it touched on very important things in life. Like all of us have at one point or another, we're gonna touch on death, whether it's actual, family, human connectivity, friends, or animals and plants. I mean, that it's all around us. I mean, everything around us is a big circle. I mean, everything is a ring. But I mean, it was a great comic, and what it was really about, like the main stride of it. I mean, it was, it gets to the point. I can't say enough about it. I mean, the little bits of humor in it, the actual where the story is going. It's well written. It's kind of sucks that it's going to be only a 5-part, but I kind of see where they're going with it, and I hope that's where they're going with it, and it'll be so amazing if they pull it off right. But The Many Deaths of Laila Starr, issue number 2. All right, now Red Room by Ed Piskern, issue number 1. And I am going to go into detail about this, and a lot of people are scared. Evil comics, right? Horror themed, and I'm a horror fan, and I can tell you not a lot scares me. Fiction, fact, real, not like that. This book made me tense. I can say the stress and anxiety was there. I love stories. That's why I'm into comics. That's why I'm into movies. I love stories. I want to be that guy at the end of my life, and I want to have some crazy stories. So I really dig stories. And when I had heard about this comic, it's another one of those, it's going to be so graphic. No. I can say, first off, this is a very mature comic, and take that with like the utmost warning. It's graphic. If you do not like horror, if you do not like blood, if you do not like people talking about surgery, or you're not going to like this comic, and it's going to make you sick. It's very graphic. Now, I had heard reviews about it, and I think the first review I said, I'd heard was that it was very pornographic and it focuses on adult. It does not. There's no in this issue. Now what it's going to be is a horror anthology. This issue is going to be one. The next issue is going to be something different. It's going to be like the Silver Coin. There are going to be continuing themes, because he sums it up at the end, like the universe that he's trying to paint. These characters will show up in other comics, but it's not going to be like story to story to story issue. I love this comic. It took me this is the reason this comic is the reason this video is late. I wanted to do this like around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. This comic took me a long time to read. It was like an hour read. Even though, I mean, it's very... And by the way, it is a black and white comic. Not really. It's a black and white comic, but there are some blues, some tans. It's really tan, white, and kind of sky blue. Just some of the art, like, I mean, even the art they show on the back cover, and kids... if your parents are letting you watch them, shame on them and not you. I'm not going to show too much, because I don't want to. I'm not trying to gross anybody out. I'm just trying to show the black and whiteness, because not everything in this book is disgusting. There is a plot, a story. I enjoyed it. Now, I didn't see the twist coming, and I liked it. I liked where the comic went. All it is it's Red Room. It's about an underground, what do they call it? The dark web. It's like a snuff room. It's basically a chat room where people actually use Bitcoin, and they pay to watch people get murdered, supposedly. I love conspiracy theories, but the snuff industry has always been one of those, like, it doesn't have to be conspiracy theory. There's crazy people in the world. I mean, how many examples of villains or supervillains do we have? They're out there. So I mean, this concept is not too far-fetched. I mean, we had 8mm back in, what was that, 94 with Nicolas Cage. I mean, this isn't a new concept. I mean, the dark web kind of got famous in like what 2010 or 9 or the story was really good. It's basically about a business lady who owns this red room, and she's trying to improve her video sales. You know, just like me here, I'm trying to get those subscribers and likes, and she's trying to do the same thing, and she's trying to do it and get some money out of it. You know, so and then they kind of show you in the beginning, like, the old hunky-dory, how guys were just, they're putting on costumes and killing people, and they got these little gimmicks, and they kind of go into, some other side characters. I mean, overall, it was a really good read. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's this lady, and she's trying to improve her internet site, and it's her moving around talent, and some of the things I really liked, because you think about a snuff film, somebody's kidnapping people and murdering them. They kind of had an explanation on how she's getting around that. She's not. Technically, she like has a farm, and she's inbreeding her own people, where she gets like one couple and they're brother and sister, and they keep, making babies, and the babies come out like really not so intelligent humans, and they're basically just used for these murder. And I would like to I do not condone anything. I don't please don't go look for this, because I want to tell you it does exist. That's as far as I'm going to go into that. I really liked it. I mean, the story was really good. I am going to buy the second issue. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, because the way they talk about it not being connecting, and the whole setup of the end of the issue is kind of us leading to the second issue. So I'm kind of curious on how they're going to do that. I mean, I really like the art. I'm going to have to go look up Ed Piskor. I feel like I do know him by his art, but I'm not good with names, especially if there's certain ones, Todd McFarlane, Jim, yes, because I know them repetitively, but there's a bunch of new guys, up until recently. I didn't know who James Tynion the Fourth was, and trust me, I do now. Or Zdarsky, or Ram V. I didn't know who Ram V was until I saw somebody else talking about him. I don't remember names. I'm not a big fan of following humans. I like following their stuff. And once I follow it enough, that's usually when I follow that human. So that was my pickups of the weeks. Like I said, if you're not a horror fan, stay away from this. It's not nudity. There's no sex. Nothing like this. It's all horror. And I will do a review, like maybe on this specific issue, because it was 64 pages. It was a long read. I mean, because it is a very wordy book. Even though that there's a lot of art, it is a very wordy book. So that was my picks and everything. I tried to keep this short, but I still went super long. I'm sorry about that. I will put like the timestamps so y'all can jump through this. But thank y'all for watching. Click that bell, subscribe, please, comment, what did you pick up? I know I missed some stuff. There was a couple other books I wanted to pick up, but I will see you possibly in a couple other days. I got some videos coming.